Hi guys, my name is Kellen and I want to be a storyteller. So I'm going to tell you the story of the chickens. Well, this is like well over a year ago and I've dealt with it, come to terms with it. It was quite traumatic at the time that it happened, but we move on. Um, so we moved out into the country and my daughter decided that, you know, we now live on a farm. And because we live on a farm, we have to get chickens. So, um, off she went and she got some chickens and she picked out three chickens. That's what she was allowed to have. So she had her three chickens and she was quite happy with them and she brought them home and we set up a bird cage, chicken coop thing in the back garden and yeah, they were much loved and much traumatized. She was little and they were little. Um, and it was great for like 2 or 3 days. And then the neighbor's dog got under the fence and into the chicken coop and killed two of our chickens. And so we were down to just one chicken, and she was crying, and there were feathers everywhere, and the dog was running around, and the last chicken was running around, and so um, Bradley gets in there, and he gets the dog, and he gets the chicken, and um, she's still crying, and I'm pregnant at this time, so I'm crying, and it's madness. But it all settles down, and we have one last chicken, and he's a bit, she is a bit traumatized, but you know, it's fine. Um, and we get past this, and the days turn into weeks, and this poor little chicken doesn't seem much better, even though, it's been a while since the incident. And I said, I really think that it's lonely. And, Bradley's like, it's a chicken. It's not lonely. And a couple of days later, he goes, okay, it's lonely. And so we go back to the place where the chickens are and we go and get two more chickens so that even if like we're not expecting the same thing to happen at all, we're expecting that there's a good possibility that one of them will die at some point, and if you only have two chickens, one dies, it's alone again. So two more chickens, but the one we've got is three. We're good. So we go there and we have a chat to them, and they're like, you know, we remember the little girl, she came and she picked up the chickens and she was so happy, and what happened? And so we ashamedly admit that, a dog got in and killed the chickens. And this is like a reputable chicken breeder, and they have these chickens that are just fucking fancy. Like, they've got these feathers on their feet, and they got these, like, feathers up on their head, and they're just ridiculously fancy chickens. Like, I feel underdressed walking around in those pens with those chickens. But yeah, so we get these like fancy chickens, and so they say to us, okay, the ones that my daughter picked out, like a batch of 22 are the only ones that they have left, and they're all being sold to this one guy who's coming that afternoon to collect his sale. And we're like, oh dear, like we kind of wanted the same one to match the one that we had so that they could be together and, friends and whatever, but it's fine. And the lady said, no, 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 you know what, that poor little girl, if she wants more of these chickens, she can have more. I'm going to tell that guy that something came up and I'll refund him the two chickens. Like, it's just two chickens. Here you go, here's your two. And we're like, okay, awesome. We got our two little chickens, and they're sweet, hey. Like, they were adorable. I can't remember what they were. They were like a red something something, but they were just really really sweet, and they literally cuddled with me while Bradley's like setting up this cage and like reinforcing it, and then he says, okay, no, like he thinks that the chicken coop is also maybe a bit too small, and that's why that one was sad. We need to build like a whole chicken run in the back garden for these three little chickens. So I take two chickens and I put it with the other one, and they're all happy, and they're like just staying in my lap and just cuddling and just being stroked and just being happy. Um, in the back there is Pixie, my fat cat. I will tell you a story about her another time. So anyway, these chickens. So off we go to the shops. We're gonna go and buy all the chicken things for these chickens. And like when I say all the chicken things, I mean they got like chicken dishes and like those feeders that you fill in from the top, and whenever they eat out of it, like more comes in through the top into the bottom. What is that called? Whatever that thing is. We got them that, and they just we kitted them out with just everything that we could find. And while we were out, we've done everything. We're just around the corner from getting home, and Bradley's dad phones us and says the dog got in again, and all the chickens are dead. And I go and I look, and all the chickens are dead. And like I'm pregnant, I am bawling my eyes out, like proper, like that crying where you can barely talk. And I'm on the phone with my mom, and she goes, "Oh my God, you lost the baby!" And I'm like, "No, I lost the chicken babies." The chicken babies. And she's like, "What chicken babies?" And I had to tell her the whole story of how we had chickens and we lost chickens and we had chickens again and then we lost chickens. And now like my daughter's coming home from school, so Bradley says, "Quick, get in the car. We're going to go all the way back to that like fancy ass chicken farm and get more chickens." And so we go back to the lady and we're like, "We're here to buy more chickens." And we don't want to tell her, because the dog again ate the chickens. So we're like, father-in-law liked the chickens so much, we were here to get him some and some more, yay, chickens. And she's like, "Oh, that guy I told you about, he came and he collected his whole, bunch of chickens, and there were none of that particular breed left." And she says, "We've got all these other fancy chickens, but I'm a bit concerned that they might fight with the ones that you've got." And we're like, "The ones that we've got are all dead." But, to keep the lie going, we're like, "Oh no, these are for, father-in-law, and he will keep his separate from ours, so it'll be fine. Like, we'll just take the new fancy chickens." And the new fancy chickens cost like 5 times the cost of the like standard fancy chickens that we had. These are like fancy chickens. So in this day we have spent a ridiculous amount of money. Like we bought expensive fancy chickens and then expensive fancy chicken stuff, and now we're going to buy the more expensive fancy chickens. So it has just cost us a ludicrous amount of money. Like you would not, in your right mind, spend this much money on a chicken unless you were like a professional chicken breeder. But like we're in too deep. We're going to buy chickens. So we buy this fancy chicken with black feathers all the way down its feet, and we buy a red one, as close to the red one as the one that my daughter remembered was still at home, because we did this while she was at school. Like get the other 2 chickens for her one chicken friend. So we got a red one as close to the red one that she thought was still at home. But this one has feathers on its feet. And I'm all like, "Oh fuck, she gotta notice those feathers on the feet." But there are no other nearly red colored chickens, so we take that one. And then we take like a standard white looking chicken. So we have our 3 chickens, and they're easily identifiable, and we take them home and we set them up, and we proper that fence has been literally barricaded like all the way into the ground and like up higher, and there's just no way that dog is getting in. And we even built or not built, like put mesh underneath the coop, so even if it got into our fence, which it could no longer do, it couldn't get under, it couldn't dig under the chicken coop. So like we're doing this the whole day, and we just fetch her and everything is done, and she's like, "Oh, chickens, I got more chickens." And we're like, "Yeah." not just happen for the second time today. New chickens. Um, and she looks over and she's like, oh, my one chicken evolved. And we're like, what? And she's like, it's like a Pokemon. It's got feathers on its feet now. It's evolved. And we're like, yep, it evolved. That's 100% true. That's the chicken story. Now we have 3 chickens, and they're like, we've had them for a year now, and I'm past the stage of being traumatized about the chicken story, and like one day I might tell her. But it was just too much at the time. It evolved like Pokemon. Bye.